So what I'm doing here is I'm gonna try to do an experiment and see if I can match this pink. Pink's pretty hard to match. So we know there's red in there and we know there's white in there. Well, at least I do. So this is what I like to do. I like to wear gloves, and then I'm gonna get a spatula here, and you want to keep one for each color. So as you can see, I have white and I have red. So what I want to do is I want to bring some of this red over here. We don't want to put it right in the middle, and that might be too much red. We can always find out. The trick with this, since this is a new product in the industry, is you want to feel it out, experiment with it, you know, see what happens. I'm going to try to put about equal amounts just so I have something to go into. And then I'm going to take the third spatula and use that as my mixing spatula. So I'm going to choose the fill and finish thin. And there's another thing that I like to do too. Before I commit myself to the repair as this pink, I want to try it on cheap popsicle sticks. They're usually made of a maple, and they're really close to giving you a good idea of what kind of coverage you'll get, and also if you're getting the correct color. So here we go. I'm not going to use any of the GluBoost right now because I don't want this to accelerate too fast. I want to have as much playing time and working time as possible. These bottles are great. They have a metal pin in the top to keep them from ever clogging. So that's a really nice feature of these. And plus the lifespan on these things are fantastic. I haven't had one dry up on me yet. And if I mention some other brands, you'd be surprised how fast they dry up. So here we go. So I'm just getting a nice little blob right there. Now I'm going to take my spatula. I'm going to bring in a little red. Look at that, just dissolves right in there. So now I have my red. Now obviously it's not pink, but I want to mix it in right there. And sometimes you'll get a couple little granules here. They smash right out, it's no big deal. So now I got a really cool looking red right there. Now I'm going to bring in some white. And as you can see there, I probably need a little more white. And I want to work a little bit fast on this, but like I said, this is all an experiment right here. You know, we're picking a really hard color right off the bat. Okay, so as you can see right there, I'm getting a nice pink. And like I said, if you can make pink with the other colors, you're not going to have a problem at all, because they're earth tones, the browns and such like that. So I got what I feel is a pretty good match right there. And look, I still have some playroom here, so I just want to mix it up a little better. And now I know in my head the ratio to make this color. So I'm going to put a little bit of this right here, because it's another good area to test inside the neck pocket. And this is a factory pink from the late 80s from Fender itself. So they would have all their colors all mixed up, which is easy for them to paint them, hard for me to touch up. Now, like I said before, or I'll repeat myself again if you didn't get it, you can use a modeler's paintbrush on there, and you can brush this on, get a nice smooth finish. You can also add a little bit more thin. So anytime you want to thin this out a little more, now that you got the color correct. And don't be afraid. You know, this stuff's not going to dry up on you really fast because it's so fresh and it's stable. But I'm just using the palette spatulas because I want to show you how easy it is to work with. And now I'm going to come in with the GluBoost. Now that I feel like I have the color, I don't want to sit around and watch glue dry. And I want to show you how it doesn't bubble over. All right. Solid. So I'm going to take off my gloves. There it is. Now if it's a little rough like that, like I said, using the paintbrush is a little easier, but you can sand through this and then you can add another coat. So let's say there's a huge ding inside here, or somebody had drilled a bunch of extra holes all around here and put in, I've seen everything. So just, you know, whatever colors you need to mix up, you can usually drop fill these with toothpicks until they fill up, and it works really good. So that's how we get our color match. And like I said, if it's not right, just come back. Look, it's still, the viscosity is still there, and you can add a little more white to it. And as you saw, the red's just a beautiful cherry red. It's very close to the aniline dyes that Gibson would use back in the 50s. So this is just great for me to touch up a vintage instrument where I can't get the color correct, and now I can. And I can have a permanent, flexible, that's what's so good about this stuff. This bends with the wood, and also the best part of this, which I didn't mention, is if you're going to shoot lacquer, you can shoot lacquer over this. So I could sand this down to about 320 grit, 400 grit, shoot nitro cellulose lacquer, any lacquers, and do a complete restore, and nobody would notice. And it's fantastic. And then on your polyester finishes, which is what this is, this stuff is just great because nothing else will stick to this. This is like glass. It's a 2-part catalyzed conversion varnish, so it's stuck. You know, it's glass. So when you get a crack in here and it peels apart and breaks, well, now you have a fix. And look here, still liquid, still liquid. I love this stuff. I'm telling you, this is a game changer. I'm Tracy Longo from Guitar Tech Corner.